Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. You know the drill. We're retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. If you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you'll get all things DutyRon and Ed Wallace when we go live or upload another video. Hey, today, Ed's going to be joining us in a short period of time. We're going to be talking about Sebastian Rogers. 15, now 16 years old, went missing from Tennessee at his mom and stepdad's home almost a year ago. In 17 days, Sebastian Rogers is going to be missing a whole year. That's right, folks. I cannot even believe how fast the time has gone by. This young autistic boy here, pictured here, in 17 days, it'll be 1 year with no new information. We look to hear something from Sumner County Sheriff's Department, Eric Craddock. We look to hear from TBI and the TBI spokeswoman, the public information officer. It's been crickets. Susan Nyland gave a press conference about 6 or 7 months ago and said, "We will not forget Sebastian Rogers." No updates from law enforcement, but a lot of chatter from online cyber sleuths. So let's take a listen to this. This is not brand new, but this is the latest that I could drum up on Sebastian Rogers. Let's listen.
This disappearance, though, remains sadly a confounding mystery. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers, who vanished without a trace from his home in Hendersonville 10 months ago. As Nick Barris tells us, his Amber Alert is still active. The case remains open. So many of you have continued to follow any developments in what has become one of the top stories of this past year.
Sebastian Rogers, a now 16-year-old with autism, vanished from his Hendersonville home in Sumner County sometime overnight on February 26th earlier this year. It was reported he left the house barefoot and with a flashlight. There was a massive search effort from ground and air in the first 8 days after the teen disappeared.
This is the system that we use to track all of our searchers.
Sumner County EMA Director Ken Widener spearheaded the search using crews on foot and drones. Divers searched ponds. Spelunkers were called in to check sinkholes.
The white dots are caved and they've all been searched.
Bloodhounds and cadaver dogs were used, but contrary to some reports,
none of them, my understanding, were actually on a trail that was following Sebastian.
Search efforts then continued for months. There was simply no trace of the teen found, no scent trail, no security video, nothing. It was as though Sebastian simply vanished.
I'm hoping he's still alive. You know, that's my main hope right now, is that he's not deceased. I mean, I keep praying that he's alive. I keep praying that somebody's going to see him, or somebody's going to call 911.
Seth Rogers shares custody of his son Sebastian, who was staying with his mother and stepfather the night he disappeared. His mother was the only one home when Sebastian went missing. Authorities say all three parents have fully cooperated.
Any evidence of foul play?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
I did ask Sheriff Eric Craddock about exclusive home security video we obtained from the neighborhood the night Sebastian disappeared. You can see two suspicious light sources circled here in an area behind the teen's home.
No evidentiary value?
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No,
Why?
because the investigation remains ongoing.
And so it could play a role down.
Did anybody catch on to that double talk right there? I mean, look, we don't have access to the case file. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But when Nick Beers cornered the sheriff there, Sheriff Eric Craddock, he said he talked kind of double talk there. Ed, did you catch that?
Oh, absolutely. You can't have it both ways there, Sheriff. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people are frustrated because, and I'll tell you why people are frustrated, Ed, is the only information that's coming out about this now 16-year-old autistic boy who just vanished. Summer Wells, same thing. Remember the mom, Candace said, "Oh, I went over here to my mom's trailer and she was gone." Well, this isn't the exact same thing, but it's the same, but a little different. His mom, Katie, there's video of them at the Texas Roadhouse. She was taking pictures of them. We're going to go over that in a little bit, but we have Twyla Cisco, who's going to join us, Ed, who searched Dave Rader, joined us live April of 2024, and they said that they searched over 40 some odd ponds looking for Sebastian Rogers. They covered so much ground. But Ed, yeah, I mean, this is what's caused all of the Jagaloons to make their own decisions on who's guilty, who's not guilty, who's responsible, who's not responsible. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we think or what anybody thinks. It matters what this man here and the TBI, it matters what they think, right, Ed? Yeah,
it matters what Sheriff Colin Ferguson thinks.
Yeah, so I caught that reference, and I'm sure many other people are. So let's listen to this again.
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
Oh,
No.
Colin Farrell.
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
And so it could play a role down the road depending on developments?
We don't know what we don't know. So yes, it could play a role.
The sheriff concedes there are parts of the investigation that cannot be shared with the public. To date, authorities have investigated hundreds of tips, but they have produced...
Let's talk about this, Ed, what we saw here, and I'll back it up a little bit. But this is the Kentucky landfill.
Yes.
Garbage that was picked up in Sebastian Rogers' neighborhood. They did their due diligence, right? It's all mapped out. I'll let you talk about it because you know about this stuff just like I do, but you are the crime scene expert. Why did they go to the Kentucky landfill, and what did they do there, Ed?
Well, obviously that they had some information during the course of the investigation that led them to the landfill, and the possibility that our missing person was in fact deceased and placed into the landfill, just as we have had in many other cases that we've had, where we've had the poor baby that was recovered in the landfill by the FBI in where was that case in
Simonton?
Yes.
Yeah,
and and I've had many cases like that where we searched landfill. We suited up in our tieback and went into the landfill and dug up certain areas, and lo and behold, you'll find body parts, or in one case that I was involved in, a dead fetus. So they're looking. Something brought them there, some tip or some information. But I mean, if that's the extent of the operation, it seems like it was undermanned and not enough people were there.
What's got people wound up is the misinformation, the nightly videos of people, making thumbnails, pointing at pictures of this kid, but really not talking about what's important, and is keeping his name out there and his face out there. That's what's most important. And our guest who's joining us is the search coordinator. She does the drones and the ground searches, Twyla Cisco. She's joining us live from, I believe, it looks like she's inside her vehicle, but as soon as she gives me the thumbs up, I'm adding her in. There it is. Twyla, how you doing? We love you. We appreciate you. You and your crew were down in Tennessee searching for Sebastian Rogers in April, and you covered so much ground. Everybody wants to hear from you. Twyla, how you doing?
Good. I was late because our fine director is out on the search, and I was trying to round up our drone pilots, and I literally just hung the phone up with him a few minutes ago. He said, "Tell everybody I said hello." I said, "Nope, you should have been here."
Yeah. No excuse for Diamond Dave. Ed, did you sign a 28 for him?
No, I did not. I did not authorize it. Is there a LT in the audience? Did he do it?
Lieutenant Pete Pranzo, is he in the audience? If he signed that 28, I'm going to get a captain to override it and give him a command discipline.
Or Sergeant Ant.
Yeah, there you go. Amazing Ant. Twyla, let's reel this back in here, because Sebastian Rogers, we're going on a year. February 26th, which is in 17 short days, it'll be 1 year. He's now 16 years old. December 7th was his 16th birthday. I know that you, and I spoke with Dave about this, you had communication with Katie and Chris and also Seth. That's his parents, who he was, his mom and his stepdad, who he was living with when he went missing. And then also Seth Rogers, who is his biological father and is the loudest out of everybody. He's got Dog the Bounty Hunter, Nick the Hat, and all these guys helping him out and trying to look for Sebastian Rogers, his son. But I just wanted to get your thoughts. You communicated with the family. You were there, boots on the ground. Any thoughts as it pertains to what you guys did with EquuSearch Midwest?
Me and the two drone pilots went in first, and we flew a lot. And then we went back when they had that big search. We were invited in by the TBI and I think it was the rescue squad that coordinated it or something like that, the EMA, somebody, I can't think off the top of my head, but we went in with the drones. We flew a lot of area. Then when we went back with the search that was only for officials, we were the only recovery team that was there. There was maybe some rescue teams there, but we covered a lot of ground and probably almost 60 ponds we sonared with the TBI. We had TBI agents with us. And I talked to the TBI agent that's on his case pretty often. And, you know, we're on standby if they ever need us to go back and do some more searching. We'll do whatever we can to assist. But I was there. I did speak to Katie and Chris for quite some time. We were there at the house, me and the two drone pilots, for, I know, at least a good 2 hours. I met Seth at the vigil, and I've talked to him over the phone. But we're willing to go assist whenever they're ready and wanting us to come back.
Yeah, and that was my next question. Thank you for bringing us into that. And Ed and I, all of our community here, all 460,000 subscribers, want to know if and when you guys get called back. Now, you guys just don't show up, and I want to be very clear and transparent here for our audience. Ed, you know this well. We've been, friends with EquuSearch Midwest law enforcement liaison. If they ask us to call into law enforcement to ask them if they need assistance, we do that. You guys just don't bud your nose into these cases. You got to be invited there by law enforcement. Twyla, why is that a rule? Some people scratch their heads over that. Can you explain to the audience the purpose for not showing up and just, hey, I'm here, as opposed to getting that invite?
We're pretty strict with that. We don't go in to assist unless we get approval by law enforcement or we get requested. One, it's because it protects the case. And two, you don't want to go out there and just like show up and start doing your own little thing, because some people may think that it's easy just to show up somewhere, go out in the woods and start looking for a human being. It's not easy, because you can come across things that you will never be able to unsee. And you just can't go out there and act like you know what you're doing, because you don't want to mess up the case. There's evidence, if there's foul play, there's so many things that could literally mess up the case, and it hurts a missing persons case more than it helps for individuals to go out there, trying to search. Yes, we know that people want to help, but at the same time, you need to get that approval from law enforcement. And then when you do get that approval, you need to be with trained professional people to go out there and do it. It may be easy to some people, but at the same time, you've got to have property owner permission. You don't want to get out on somebody's property and catch a charge because you're trespassing. There's just a lot to it, and we stick to it when we get reached out. If a family or somebody reaches out to us about a missing person, our first thing is we give our condolences and we tell them, hey, we need to get the approval by law enforcement, have them reach out to us, and we'll be glad to assist. We never charge for this. We go in on our own dime, and it's very important not to go out there stomping around not knowing what you're doing.
I wanted to go to Ed Wallace because I saw you shaking your head. I'm going to take myself off. Ed, talk about the importance of preservation of if you come across clothing and articles of that could potentially be evidence. And the importance of what Twyla just said is not knowing what you're doing can hurt as opposed to help.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we saw another high-profile cases, especially here in Tennessee, of all places, where people went out and started searching all by themselves. They organized themselves. They were not a legitimate organization like Twyla's is, and have no training. Just went out there. They started trespassing on people's property. They got the people in the community all up in arms, and it took the resources of the police department away from what they were doing to deal with these people now. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's a nightmare. And in terms of evidence, and we saw again in other high profile cases where, people that aren't trained to be doing this would go out and do a search, and then they would find an actual piece of evidence. And instead of leaving it where they find it and go get law enforcement, they pick up the evidence and bring it to law enforcement, disturbing the whole crime scene and recovery and the processing and the documentation of the article of evidence in situ. Okay, because they didn't know what they were doing.
It's so frustrating because we've seen it happen. And Ed, I know you're citing prior cases that we covered as it pertains to evidence. And that's the important thing here is that, listen, people in the chat are, again, everybody has their opinions. We respect your opinion, but this channel is, we're not about talking about this one and that one when it comes to the family. We respect the victims, which is Sebastian Rogers here, 16 years old, autistic boy, and their families. And that includes the extended families, the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents, the mothers, the fathers, the stepfathers, and everyone that's involved. Because we accomplish nothing by going and attacking people personally. So at the end of the day, what I say, and Ed, I think you agree, and Twyla, you agree with this, is leave the investigation to the investigators. Because when you start putting yourself inside a criminal investigation, if in fact this is a criminal investigation, because we got no answer, yes or no, whether it is or not, it's not going to help. We're not empowered to be law enforcement. We're retired now. So even Ed and myself would not insert ourselves into an investigation of this type. But Twyla, your organization searches for the missing, and you do an unbelievable job. And when people call you, and I keep bringing up this case of Dylan Rounds, you guys, yourself and the Fly Boys, we like to call them the Fly Boys, the drone team. You guys got the call from Candace Cooley and her husband, Justin. And you guys went out there and you were sleeping in crates and containers that they rented for you guys in the middle of the desert. And you went out and you searched and you searched and you searched. And
we were there the whole week. Me and the two drone pilots flew out there. We were there for a whole week. Candace was with us. Justin was with us. We stayed in campers on Dylan's property. We went all over, the grain shed, everything that we could possibly do in that particular area. As a matter of fact, we left EquuSearch bracelets there at his grain shed. We were with Candace several days, and when we were Justin several days, they were out there with us searching. And I wanted to touch base on something that you were just saying a minute ago. I've been called, I get random messages from these fake accounts on Facebook or whatever telling me that I'm just
fake book.
Yeah, I get like these awful messages telling me that I'm disgusting and I'm stupid and just all kinds of crazy ignorant shit, I'm going to say, because guess what? Word gets out there that I go and I talk to the families, or I talk to Sebastian's mother and stepfather and father. That's what I have to do. And until law enforcement tells me that I don't need to talk to somebody or I can't talk to somebody, then I'm going to treat them individuals as if they were us. I don't know the pain of I don't know the pain. I don't know the circumstances. I don't do the investigation. I go in and I do a search where we think they might be, or where law enforcement wants us to go based off of evidence. I'm not going to give my opinion of his parents or his family or none of that. I will say firsthand, when I was there, I was treated with the utmost respect. They never once disrespected me. Any and everything that we wanted to know, or I even asked them, where do y'all think we should search? They gave us areas. I mean, they were very forthcoming. I'm not going to sit and accuse nobody on, I can't. And I get some worse messages degrading me because I shouldn't be talking to this person or I shouldn't be talking to that person. And it's just crazy. And I didn't mean to backtrack, but I didn't want to interrupt you while you were talking. But we did go out for Dylan. Yes, we did.
Well, Twyla, all I have to say is haters are going to hate. So shake it off. Shake it off.
That's right. That's all I can do.
Haters gonna hate. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not doing it. Shake it off. All right. So listen, this is gonna happen. The internet is sometimes a really nasty, toxic place, but at the end of the day, it's about the victims and their families, the missing person or persons. And when it comes to any type of criminal charges, we gotta just leave it in the hands of the people who are empowered to enforce the law, because it's not our job to start poking our nose and figure out who had criminal responsibility. If you have information, and I want to highlight this message right here. Bus stop juror, thank you for the message. It's been a year with no movement in this case. What should the public do to assist in this investigation in a responsible way? Now, I love this question. I don't know who this is or who this account is, but shout out to Bus Stop Juror, because you just asked a great question. And Ed, I'm going to let you answer that.
Answer? I'm sorry, I missed something.
The question. It's been a year.
It's been a year with no movement in the case. What should the public do to assist the investigation in a responsible way? Well, obviously, if you have information that's not like triple hearsay, contact the police and give them what you found. I'm sorry, I got distracted in the chat because somebody said, "That's it, I'm done." Ed quoted Tay-Tay. I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's it right here. Zobo said that, and you actually took me back that you quoted that. You're a man of a lot of different music genres.
I am very eclectic in my music. That is correct.
But again, I mean, to add to that, I mean, if you have valid information on the bottom here, we have the tip line for the Sumner County Sheriff's. We have the case detective. There's one detective, as we know. This was as of December. One case detective working this case from Sumner. The TBI, it's right down here, scrolling along the bottom. If you want to be, and you want to be helpful, and you do have valid information or information that you think needs to be looked at, call those tips in. There's nothing wrong with calling in tips. That's a great thing. We encourage it. So it's a good thing. I wanted to go over this because it's about the Caltopo. Am I saying that right, Twyla? So let's listen to this. This is Nick, and he talks a little bit about the Caltopo, and I want you to expand on that because, again, they stopped the ground searching. They stopped technically, as far as we know, and they could be searching, and we would maybe secretly, and we don't know about it, but they stopped the ground searching. But while this was going on, I thought this was an unbelievable piece of technology. So let's listen to this.
Will not rule out foul play, but they will not say that there is a criminal investigation into the Sebastian Rogers case. Why not? Well, I talked to District Attorney Ray Whitley about what it might take to perhaps make an arrest. Sebastian disappeared from his Hendersonville home more than 6 weeks ago. Since then, professionals and volunteers searching for the 15-year-old have found nothing, no trace. Have you found evidence of Sebastian yourself when you've been out there?
No.
So how does a teen with autism walking from a home barefoot in the middle of the night just with a flashlight disappear? Experts say children rarely simply vanish completely on their own. Could others be involved in Sebastian's case?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
That's the sticking point that these are the last words that we heard, these last statements. from the sheriff. There's been no updates, and that's what's got people just really, really poking at straws and going to look and pointing fingers at people. But this Caltopa app that they talk about here is a great piece of equipment. So let's listen in. This is, again, early on. As you heard, this report is from 2024.
Though they certainly do have theories. So what would it take to call this now a criminal investigation? General Whitley tells me there has to be something, physical evidence, blood, Sebastian's clothing, a flashlight, or security video, or an eyewitness implicating someone. But at this point, the simple fact is there's nothing. But that's not to say that can't change. And General Whitley says he stays in contact with authorities, ready to prosecute if it does. Sumner County EMA Director Ken Widener says his crews are on call 24/7, ready to go when investigators contact them.
What are we looking at here, Twyla? Please take over.
That is the Caltopo map. So our team, anytime we get a case or a search, Dave will call me up and I'll immediately start a Caltopo link with the person's last known location. That's what we go by, is the last known location. So that right there, what we'll do is we'll put the missing person's name in there. We'll put their last known location, and any and everybody that comes in with us, or if we're assisting if we're doing a case on our own, we'll create a Caltopo, and every one of our teammates, regardless if we bring in dogs, if we any outside people we bring in to assist us, whether it's public, closed, or whatever, this is created, and those little squiggly lines that you see with those names and like Team 5, and then they name it, or it looks like on this one they have individual teams, but on ours we do teams and individual people. So those little squiggly lines that you see are actually a human being's tracks of where they've been out there and covered. So if I was given this map, I would say, okay, this area looks like it has been heavily populated with searchers and this, that, and the other. And sometimes it doesn't hurt to go back over those areas if you're, professional and you know what you're doing. But this is a great tool right here. We use it on every single one of our cases. After we're done with our search, we take that Caltopo link and we give it over to the detective. That way, if something comes up, somebody calls in a tip and says, hey, I seen such and such here, or this is over here, whatever, the detective can pull that up wherever they're at, on their phone, at work, at home, wherever. They can pull it up and see if anybody's that's been on an official search with the, professionals or whatever. They can see if anybody has been in that area to search. I actually have this one that's up there. The EMA guy that was talking, I met with him at the vigil, and I think that was the one that coordinated the big search. That guy right there. I can't think of his name, but I've communicated with him outside of the, search. We went in and done some ponds for them.
Any of this look familiar, Twyla? This
Yeah.
here?
Yes, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that could be the retention pond that everybody says that the dogs lost his scent at. And
Right.
then I know that we visited all that area multiple times. And then if you can go back to that picture where he was standing with his backpack in his hand, right there in the kitchen dining area, right there. So
Okay.
I will tell you this: when I was there, I sat right there by that table where that tank is, to the left of him. Yep, right there.
The fish tank.
Yes, I sat like a little over to the left because that's where their couch was, and I was sitting by Katie. I was on the floor, she was on the couch. That table there has a little tank in it, and it was Sebastian's lizard. Chris got it out and was showing it to me and everything. And that backpack that you see there, that backpack was there. I seen his shoes that was there. Nothing was out of place. I did not go prowling in their room. They offered and voluntarily asked me, did I want to go? They wanted to show me around the house or whatever. So I did see Sebastian's room. I seen the other room. I seen all that. But anyways, I just wanted to touch base and say that particular backpack I did see there. But that Caltopo is so handy for every search, because even if one of our teammates get out there and get lost or hurt or whatever, All we have to do is go to our map and we'll be able to pull up exactly where they are, tap on it, and it gives us coordinates to get to where they are. We can mark, if we found something, we can mark it on there and take pictures and put that on there. So that tool comes in handy for us. We use it on every single case.
So Twyla, you were granted entry by Katie and Chris Proudfoot, right, into the home.
Yep.
This was April of 2024, right, when you guys were there? I have April 3rd around there is when we did the live, and I showed the news footage. So it's somewhere in April-ish, right?
Yeah, it was in the beginning there.
Okay. But he went missing on the 26th. My point that I'm trying to bring up here, and for our listening audience, and Ed, I'm going to bring you in on this, is when he gets reported that morning, I believe it was 6 a.m.-ish, 6:30, Monday on the 26th of February, 2024. What does crime scene, if anything, do inside a home like this? Now, we don't know because we didn't get confirmation from Sumner County. But what if they did suspect something was suspicious? What, if anything, would they do after they may think stories aren't jiving and so forth, Ed?
Okay, so first of all, if I'm being called out in a case like this, I either have consent or a warrant to go through this house. Okay. Now, once I do my preliminary search of the house, all PPE'd out, and I'm doing my search, I'm going to come back to the lead detectives here and explain to them what I found inside of this house. And if there is anything that doesn't jive with what the reporting adults are telling us, I'm going to explain what the issues are with the statements that are being made and what I'm seeing in the house that doesn't jive. But also the converse is true. If I find what they're telling me in their statements is matching what I'm seeing in the house, I'm going to tell them that as well. Okay. And then based upon whether something isn't matching and I'm finding maybe discrepancies in their statement, then I'm going to do a full-blown crime scene investigation. I'm going to break out all my tools, my alternate light sources. I'm going to my luminol or Blue Star or whatever the case may be, and I'll start searching for signs of foul play, blood, or cleanup of a crime scene or things of that nature. And if I find that, I'm going to report that immediately. Okay, then. We may have to go back out if we're in there on a search warrant to go back out and then go to the judge and expand the warrant to other areas.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Ed, because a lot of people want to know. Robert in the chat, thank you for being here. He says, Twyla, how does you searching the house help drone searching? She didn't search the house. She was welcomed, and correct me if I'm wrong, Twyla. She was welcomed into the home by the parents, by Katie and Chris Proudfoot. She did not go in this home and search. And I was clear about it, and I think Twyla was clear about it. They allowed her full access to their home. Twyla didn't go through like a cop, searching through the rooms, kicking in doors. Twyla, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're absolutely correct. When I was in contact with the TBI agent about going in, me and the drone pilots going in to assist, he contacted with the parents or Katie and Chris and let them know what we were going to be doing. And she said if they'd like to come over here, they can come, whatever conversation it was. The TBI agent told me that they're welcoming you guys to come over. I wanted to meet them anyway because I like to meet the families and, anybody that was close to that missing person. They actually told the TBI agent that we could actually park in their driveway while we were there. Of course, people were driving by, taking pictures of our drone pilot's license plate, all that craziness. But going into their home, I absolutely 100% did not go in there to investigate anything whatsoever. And I wouldn't do that because, first of all, I'm not an investigator. Second of all, it's none of my business what is in that house. I went in to meet them, introduce myself, tell them what me and the drone pilots were going to do, ask them if they had any opinion of where we should go, where we should search. And they voluntarily asked me, would you like to see his room? Because, I was asking him, hey, what type of kid was Sebastian? What things did he's like? Not investigating, but trying to get to know him so that if I'm out there searching, I can look for, clues of things that
Yeah,
he may.
if he likes to climb trees, does he like to hide? What are some of the things that might set him off and make him scared and run away from me if I'm close to him?
Exactly.
So these are all the things that Twyla and Dave and the team do with families, and it's the same way. Like investigators, we want to, when we interview and interrogate someone, we want to make them relaxed, and then we want to smack them a little bit. You know what I mean? We want to get them comfortable, and that's not what Twyla was trying to accomplish by going into the home. Again, as she said, she wants to be able to know some of the places or some of the things that are maybe quirky with Sebastian, or what are some of the things that he likes. Maybe he likes a song. You're out in the middle of the woods, you could start singing the song, or whatever the case may be.
Hey, folks, so there's no confusion. Ron is not talking about physically slapping somebody they're interviewing. He's just saying that the tone and manner of the interview is going to become a little more hostile in its tenure. But to answer Nancy D's question, Nancy, I have a lot of different equipment that I can search cavities of walls in a house, chimneys, rooms, things like that, to see if bodies have been placed inside of the walls or hiding in secret locations. I have thermal imaging cameras. I have X-ray devices. I have boroscopes. I have a lot of different equipment that I could use to help search for that type of situation.
Yes. So and people are asking that question because there is, I believe, a chimney in that house, correct? Twyla, fireplace?
You know what? I can't even remember. I was literally sitting there on the living room floor, and that's how much I paid attention to that house when I was there. I do know that we went there that day and we talked to her, and then after we couldn't fly immediately that first day because it was misting and raining, and we didn't want to mess up our drones. And then we went back, I think the following day or that Sunday, I can't remember which day it was. We went back because of the vigil. As a matter of fact, I went back over there and let her know, Katie, know that, we were going to go to the vigil. If she would like to go, she couldn't go because she was being bullied, of course. But anyways, went back over there, and I think they was asking people to wear certain colors shirts at the vigil or something. And I didn't have that color shirt to wear. And Katie was nice. She said, I have a shirt that you can wear if you'd like. She went and got a shirt and brought it back to me. But I do want to go back to that Robert guy's comment where he said, what does the house or whatever have to do with the drone searching? It doesn't, and it didn't. I went there to fulfill my responsibility as a search coordinator, because as a search coordinator, I do talk to families. I try to get to know the individual that's missing and paint that picture, in my head, instead of thinking of all the negative things that could have happened. I try to paint that picture, especially if it's a child, and get to know, I don't know. I guess I got affected a little bit by that comment. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Look, we don't know where text messaging is tough. Sometimes it's hard to read. It might have been, it might have just been a legit, question. We don't know. Sometimes you can misread these things. But I want to just say this. As far as it pertains to Sebastian Rogers, we want to keep his name and his face out there. And as content creators, Ed and myself, we have a lot of experience as it pertains to investigations. And Twyla, this is what she does. She's the search coordinator for EquuSearch Midwest. They search for the missing. And when we are talking about a case like this, you want to bring people on and invite people like Twyla and Dave Rader of EquuSearch to come on to talk about this. Because when you hear these 2-3 hour long live streams where people are just arguing back and forth and talking about super chats and talking about this, that, and the other, it takes away the focus on here. This is the focus right here. Sebastian Rogers, whether he's alive or if he's deceased, God forbid, we want to still be able to speak about him with respect, with dignity, with honor. We want to honor this boy, right? He's a young 16-year-old autistic boy that has just vanished. And whoever's responsible, if there is something criminal here, we want to bring them to justice. We don't want to hinder it.
Yeah.
Nope. To do that, right, Ed?
100%. You know, I have a special place in my heart for many special needs children. I have several in my family, and autism in my extended family. These are some of the most vulnerable and innocent people you will ever meet. I have never met a special needs person, whether it's Down syndromes or depending on where they are on the spectrum of autism, that are liars, that are violent, that can, you know, I've never met those types. I know in the spectrum, there's a wide spectrum, that there are some that are out there that do, but for the most part, I have never met that type. Okay, right. All I've met are these innocent, pure people that deserve our respect and love, and we have to be there to help them throughout their lives. Okay. That said, I want to just transition to a question that keeps popping up in the chat about ethics. Okay, folks, if I'm getting called to participate in an investigation, and I find out that a part of this investigation involves a family member or a friend, I'm going to recuse myself from that investigation.
And this is the question that keeps repetitively coming up. Brianna, thank you for bringing it up. That was the next thing I was going to highlight is this question. So I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you're paying attention to the chat. There would be no way in hell in the NYPD. Now, smaller departments, we can't speak for them. We can't speak for what happens outside of larger municipal police departments. But as far as the TBI goes, or as far as the NYPD would go, we would be not, it wouldn't even be up to us to recuse ourselves. It would get, the boss would get word of it. You would have to report that, and then they would be like, Licardi, you're off, you're done.
We're mandated to report conflicts of interest.
100%.
So we have to tell our first line supervisor, which is typically the sergeant, hey, Sarge, here's the conflict for me with this. And
Exactly.
I've had numerous cases where I had to do that.
Right. I was just trying to tell the audience that we personally wouldn't say, oh, we're taking ourselves off the case. We would have to go, like Ed just said, report it to our first line supervisor, and then he would report it to his lieutenant, and then to the captain, and it would go right up the chain of command. It would happen very quick, and you'd be yanked off, and another detective that would have no conflict would be in there. Because I was at the World Trade Center searching for my cousin Ralph when he was murdered by terrorists on September 11th. Okay, but I wasn't there just searching for him. I was there to secure the largest crime scene in the history of the NYPD, in the history of the United States, for that matter. So I was there searching through the pile for any remains of anybody. But, my cousin was in that pile. So, for me, it was personal. But at the same time, it wasn't like I was investigating that crime. I was there for search and recovery efforts of body parts.
Yeah.
Let's also say, Ed, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I mean, I was just going to piggyback off of that, because I got a call out on a homicide, a body removed from the scene, and when they gave me the name of the victim, it was my first cousin. So I had called. So I called back the sergeant immediately and said, "Hey, I can't respond to this. That is my first cousin. You're going to have to assign another team." Right.
Yeah. I mean, these are difficult situations that we get ourselves into from time to time, and it happens. It does happen. But again, I can't speak for these smaller departments across America, because some of these smaller sheriff's departments, they might not have a whole crew of detectives. It might just be one investigator in a whole department. So we don't know. I want to go to the audience real quick, but let's let the rest of this play, and then we'll come back. We'll take your questions. Hashtag Ed, hashtag Twyla, hashtag DutyRon.
Hendersonville home more than 6 weeks ago. Since then, professionals and volunteers searching for the 15-year-old have found nothing, no trace. Have you found evidence of Sebastian yourself when you've been out there?
No.
So how does a teen with autism walking from a home barefoot in the middle of the night just with a flashlight disappear? Experts say children rarely simply vanish completely on their own. Could others be involved in Sebastian's case?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
Though they certainly do have theories. So what would it take to call this now a criminal investigation? General Whitley tells me there has to be something, physical evidence, blood, Sebastian's clothing, a flashlight, or security video, or an eyewitness implicating someone. But at this point, the simple fact is there's nothing. But that's not to say that can't change. And General Whitley says he stays in contact with authorities, ready to prosecute if it does. Sumner County EMA Director Ken Widener says his crews are on call 24/7, ready to go when investigators contact them with new leads on potential evidence.
So this is what's frustrating, guys and girls. This was from April of 2024, right? When you all were down there, Ed, Twyla, I know you're still with us. We're not on the screen, but we can all hear each other. This is what's frustrating is this man here said that he was at the ready to get mobilized and go back out and search. Now, unless they went out and searched, Ed, without letting anybody know, or no media being tipped off, or nobody locally knowing about it, we know that nothing has been publicly stated since April of searching by law enforcement. That's the frustrating part. Let me know in the chat if you're on with me. If you agree with what I'm saying, put a 1. If you disagree, put a 2. I'm just curious to see how many people are feeling that same way, because that's how I'm feeling. I don't know about you, Ed and Twyla. Thoughts? Twyla first?
I think this one here was from their first big, huge search when he first went missing. And then we went in with drones. And then later on after that, and I don't remember if it was April or what date it was, they had another big, huge search. So I think this one may be from their very first search in the very beginning when he first went missing.
This is from April 11th of 2024. I got it.
I have to go back and look, but I think we were there after that. And I think that map that he has up there is from when he very first went missing. And then, of course, we have our maps, and then the map that we joined them with the second big, huge search. The second really big, huge search later on after he went missing, it was only officials and search teams that was allowed. I know for sure we were the only recovery team that was there. There was some K9 teams there. It was a lot of officials. I think you actually done a show on that after we came back from there, or we may have been there. I can't remember.
I did, and I mistook Dave for somebody else, and he got mad at me. Ed, I wanted to go to you for your thoughts. Could there be a possibility that they're doing secret squirrel searches and not telling us if it's a sensitive thing, or what are your thoughts on that, Ed?
Well, I pray to God they're doing their jobs and had not letting this slip through the cracks. In a lot of cases, the public isn't aware but behind the scenes, how many high profile cases, time after time and time, people are complaining they're not getting enough information, and it makes the appearance of the law enforcement agency is doing nothing, but in reality, they are doing things, and then boom, they break the case. And
Right.
Then they hit us with all the stuff that they were doing behind the scenes, and that they held their cards close to the vest, and they didn't let the public know it for fear of it damaging the case.
Right.
So I'm praying that they're out there doing this job, and they haven't made this into a cold case and filed it. Okay.
I love Dixie Chicken 1969. That was a great year. She says, "What are secret squirrel searches?" It's just terminology of doing a search without making putting it on blast and letting the media know and letting other people know. Like, in other words, if it was a sensitive area that they wanted to search without a whole bunch of people showing up and gawking, especially with the traffic, and guys, correct me if I'm going in a wrong area, but with all the traffic of jagaloons, where's my sign?
The noise.
With the jagaloon traffic, a secret squirrel search would constitute law enforcement keeping it close to the chest and not putting it out there and doing it so this way a bunch of people don't go and trample on an area of concern that they want to search. So they could, and that's why I asked Ed that. And thank you, Dixie Chicken 1969, for that question, because many people that listen to the replay are going to be like, What the hell is DutyRon talking about? Secret squirrel search. Now
Yeah. Also, in the chat, they mentioned the FBI has changed their poster for this case from an Amber Alert to a poster that has a reward on it now, monetary reward. And so that just shows you, their level of frustration here, and that they hadn't gotten any decent information from the Amber Alert posters. And so now they're looking to pay somebody to give them the tip that they need to help solve this case.
Yeah. Amen. Blue, thank you for this message. I don't think investigators should say what exactly they're doing unless it's info they need the public to watch out for. Yeah, absolutely. And again, look, we don't have access. We do not have access to the case folder. We don't know what the TBI and what investigators from Sumner County have on any possible perpetrator or perpetrators. Could be one or more people. It could be they could have nothing. We don't know, and that's the frustrating part. Let's let the rest of this play.
And anytime the sheriff's office indicates or TBI indicates where you've got an area of interest that we need to search, we're ready to go.
You can see the sophisticated mapping system showing the ground they've covered. Sadly, to date, no confirmed sightings and no indication whatsoever of what happened.
All right, let's get to this next part. Okay, those of you in the chat, by a show of hands, how many of you folks, and I want to keep Sebastian's picture up here as we talk. Those of you in the chat, how many of you seen, it's been several weeks now, that the video from Texas Roadhouse? I've been curious about it for a long time, but because I've been feeling sick from my cancer treatments, I haven't really been following it daily, every day, looking for this. So I think about 3 weeks or more ago, they released video footage of Katie Proudfoot at Texas Roadhouse. How many of you here in the chat seen it? Put a 1 if you've seen it. Put a 2 if you haven't. I just want to get a feel for the vibe for the chat of how many of you guys seen this or heard it. Let's just see a lot of people ones, a lot of ones. I think a lot of people have seen it. Was it about 3 weeks ago, Twyla? Ed, I think the timestamp on the thing that I shared with you was about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, so don't hold me to that number, but it to me, I looked at it from a detective's point of view, and I looked at it quick 2 times. I checked it out. Let's see, who was it that uploaded this? Miss Harmony. So I'm just going to give her credit, obviously, here. I'm going to play this video. I'm going to shut that music off.
Please.
This is from Texas Roadhouse. Hold on a second. I gotta put this back. But it shows the mom and Sebastian. It's the last video known sighting, really, that we see clearly of him alive. And Ed, how important is that to investigators to have an actual video, body language, looking at them sitting at a table? How important is that to investigators, Ed?
That was huge. I mean, if I saw that and I had a PC or a consent, I would be gathering all the information about the telephone usage while there. Okay. Who was she was photographing and posting? Who were they in communication with at the time that they were in the restaurant? And I'd be gathering up all that information that I saw there. And then there was the as they were approaching their car, as they're exiting Texas Roadhouse, I'd be identifying all those people that were in the video, and they look like there may have been some interaction between somebody parked next to her, and as they were she was trying to get into her car, and then maybe somebody else. I don't know if that was a worker that had on the blue gloves that were going in and out. Maybe that was the takeout location, or the your to-go orders. I don't know what was going on, but I would look at all of that and interview all of those people and the waitress and so forth, and try to identify any other patrons that might have been sitting next to them to see if they overheard any conversations, and what, if anything, were the conversations that were going on.
Right out of the gate, when I watched the first time, it stood out to me is, okay, look, when my kid's a teenager, and I get that every family's different, Sebastian, whatever the case may be, I noticed right away that she was taking pictures of him. She didn't it didn't seem like she was like, oh, honey, I'm going to take a picture of you or whatever. She was like I stopped it here because she was getting the camera to take these pictures. And it just seemed, just to me, a little bit odd, but not for a parent. I mean, we snapped many photos of our kids, obviously, as they were growing up. So maybe this is just normal. But I would want to know, as an investigator, who did you send those pictures to? Because it looked like she was forwarding them. Maybe she was forwarding them to Chris. Maybe she was forwarding to her mom. I don't know. But that's what the investigators will look at. And if there was any criminality or anything shady, because I've seen people online on X, on Twitter, talking about this and saying, oh, she was sending it to the people who were responsible for taking him away or doing whatever they did to him. If that was right, I mean, Ed, if that was in fact the case, we would not be here a year later with no arrests.
Right. I mean, you'd have to look at social media.
Right.
Not to interrupt you at all, but
no, of course, you're here.
She did take a picture of him because she actually showed me the picture that she took. And she showed me what she did with. I mean, I seen the picture that she took of him there.
This very picture from Texas Roadhouse.
Showed me it on her phone. She explained to me their day. She showed me that he took I didn't even know at that point that she had took a picture because this video wasn't out. But she showed me the picture because she told me that the clothes that he was wearing, and she said that he came home, I believe, and he changed that shirt. I think she said, I can't remember, but I have notes. But she showed me the picture that she took of him. And the reason why she told me that she took the picture, this is just what she said. Sebastian doesn't eat dressing on his salad, and he had a salad that day. And the reason why she had took that picture is because she was sending it to his father to let him know that he actually ate some salad dressing that day on his salad. And
there
she
you go.
showed a picture of it.
So it's so explainable. And again, like I said, this to me was great to see because you could see this is the last time that there's any videos or still pictures that are clear of Sebastian alive. And this is dated 2/25/2024 at 1800 hours, which in military time is 6 p.m. Questions as an investigator, I would say, is it, do you normally go to Texas Roadhouse? How often do you go out to eat? I would look at these patterns to see if this was a first-time thing or a one-time thing. And this is all part of what investigators do. They look at and interview waiter staff at Texas Roadhouse. Have you seen this family here? Has the mother and her husband been there with her? Has Chris and Katie been there together? Have they gone there before? Is this, a regular a thing for them? So again,
does he always wear short sleeve shirts in weather conditions that would require a hoodie or a sweatshirt? Is this normal attire?
Right. So this goes on for 3 minutes and 19 seconds. And again, he eats. She doesn't seem like she's eating much, but he's eating. She's on the phone and doing her thing. And here's another picture. Boom. So I believe she takes one more. So let us know in the comments down below. I love our replay viewers. We love the people who watch us on the rerun. Let us know, Ed, myself, and Twilo, what your thoughts are on this video. This is nothing brand new. It was released several weeks ago. But it was something that I wanted to see. All of this time, throughout all of 2024, when I would do videos on this, and I think we have maybe about 4 or 5 videos on Sebastian Rogers, I always was saying, where is the video from Texas Roadhouse? And now we have it. We have video from inside at the table. Mm-hmm. And we also have video of them leaving and going outside to the car. Twyla, I thought it was so tremendous that you provided us with insight. I don't think many people know that you saw this very photo that she took of him, and she told you about his eating habits with the salad.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she did. She showed me. As a matter of fact, she showed me both pictures, and the pictures that she did take of him, it didn't show in this video for whatever reason, but he was actually smiling in the picture. He was eating this little salad with the dressing that he normally eats his salad plain.
Yeah, it looks like he does a little dance here in the seat. Like it looked like he was like kind of like moving a little bit. Yeah, right there. See, a
little shuffle. Yeah,
like the happy shuffle when you're eating. Like my wife, when she gets when we're having a good meal, she like kind of does that little happy shuffle. So this is fascinating to get to see this. I think it's great for the public to see this. It gives a good depiction of what he looked like in his, again, the last time we know that he's alive, or the last sighting of Sebastian Rogers. I think this is important. And Twilight, I know that, again, when it comes to searching, and in this case, I always ask these on every video we do together. If you're called back, and the team, I call it the team because you guys are a wonderful team of volunteers across the country. If you guys get called back by either TBI or Sumner, I know you got a great relationship with the TBI. If you guys get called back, are you going back to search for Sebastian Rogers?
Absolutely, in a heartbeat. I'm in Tennessee, so I would go in a heartbeat. Like I said, I'm in contact with the TBI agent on that case, and we communicate every once in a while. I'll send him a message asking him, has there been any updates? Or as a matter of fact, we worked another case with an agent that was with us when we were doing the sonar. She had called us in, and the agent on this case, along with the supervisor of TBI and all that, we were all there. But we would go in a heartbeat.
Yeah, 100%. Ed, anything do you glean from the video here? I know you didn't have the chance to really watch this because
I watched it. I watched it. I watched the this video and the exterior video. Yes. Again, it's investigations 101. You want to capture all of this video. You have to canvass the entire community here. From the last known location was the house, and then so you go out and you canvass the entire neighborhood. You're looking for Ring doorbell videos. You're looking for security camera videos. You're looking for ATM videos, 7-Eleven videos, whatever the case may be. Any location that our missing person could have traversed in relationship to those, and you try to gather up all that information and make heads or tails of it. Every time I see him, my heart breaks, because I see a pure innocent person, and we don't know what happened to him. And in this day and age, that's ridiculous. Okay, that's ridiculous, and it's over a year now. Or thereabouts, and
it's coming up for a year in 17 days.
Yeah,
exactly.
17 days, right?
Will be 1 year. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, people just don't walk out of their house and vanish like this. Right. Without a trace of them. So I pray that we find them and figure out what happened.
I'm going to go full screen with this. Amen to that, Ed. Amen, brother. Anytime we can find a missing and bring them home. But, when the days and it now comes up to 365 days, it slims the odds. The odds are against Sebastian in him being brought home alive. I have to be real about it with you guys. I hope and pray, and we always can hold on to hope. But a person that needs medication and things of that nature, it's just troubling. But let's pay attention to this vehicle right here, because this is Katie Proudfoot's vehicle. It looks like an Infiniti of some sort. They come out of this door and they walk to the car, and he goes to the passenger side. And let's just take a look at this. There's no audio to this, and I got it going slow. I don't know why. But I want you guys just to see the movement, and I got it going slow. I fast forwarded it too much. And he's at the door now. All right, there it is. They're right up here in the upper right. Mm-hmm. She goes straight to the driver's side, and he walks to the passenger. And what's important too is you could see how he walks. He's got, his hand in his pocket. It's kind of, you could see his stride and so forth for them to look at and evaluate or whatever. I mean, this would have been helpful, in my opinion, early on. And I know that they had this from the get-go, but for whatever reason, investigative-wise, they did not release this right away. And this is, again, an important little piece, I guess, for investigators, but it also would be helpful for people to actually see him, like see his actual face on the last day that he was known to be still here and not missing. Let's go to the chat and then we'll wrap it up. We have a couple of super chats I think that I might have missed, so I want to go over them. And Twyla and Ed, if you have anything that you see in the chat, grab it. Unnamed True Crime Channel, thank you for that. $10. Thank you for covering this case with dignity. I'd like to add respect to that as well. I appreciate you. Sharon, thank you for being a member for over 30 months. I love Twyla and all of EquuSearch. Sharing.
We love you too. Hey, Judy, say something real quick. I don't think that law enforcement actually is the ones who put that video out.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
It was at night. I know. It says it right in the middle. But what I'm saying is, if that would have gotten out earlier, I think it would have helped to see his face,
Right.
to see him. And for whatever reason, investigation wise, it didn't get out. But to me, it just helped to give people a real understanding of what he really truly looked like at that
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And that's all I was saying. Jeff, thank you for your support. Emily, our very first channel member ever in history. Nancy, thank you for your super chat. She says, thank you, EquuSearch, for all you do. Lost is not alone. Twyla, thank you for giving Katie the respect and compassion so many others haven't in the last year. She's already been convicted by some on YouTube and in the public just because they want a villain. It's so wrong, more than wrong. Yeah, Emily, I don't think anybody should be pointing fingers, because if it was you in the same situation, you don't kind of wish this on your worst enemy. And I don't think anybody should be pointing fingers at Seth, at Chris and Katie, because we don't know. It's all speculation. It's all people's thoughts and opinions. And opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what our opinions are. It matters what a court of law, if it comes to that, what the jury's opinion is on the person, or if anybody, or persons, if they bring someone to justice in regards to this. I'm almost done with this, with the super chats. Infamous Truth Teller, thank you for being a member for 5 months. At Night Video was altered, slowed way down. Thank you, FYI. Twyla just lost her internet connection. That's par for the cause. It happens, Ed. Remember what we always do, Twyla. We always lose Twyla. I want to thank Darlene and our moderators for always being here and always supporting our channel members and everybody who positively engages. It's been 8 days since I've gone live, and I'll tell you, the reason it's been 8 days is I've been fatigued from whatever. I don't know if it's a combination of my radiation therapy and the cancer that I have, or I'm just in mind playing with myself. It could be that too. I'm like so twisted over how fatigued I've been these last 8 or 10 days. I'm trying to get Twyla from the studio. No, I don't want to kick her out. I just want to remove her. Okay, yes. So yeah, that's the reason I've been absent, and we've been uploading videos. Thank you to Kristen, who's our girl behind the scenes. Ed, what's happening here? Can't have that.
Oh no. Your OCD kicked in immediately.
Right. But Ed Wallace, you even said to me a couple of times, you must be Jones in DutyRon. Why aren't we on the air?
Exactly.
I just haven't been feeling good. And, my health, and I have to put myself first when it comes to this stuff. So this whole week I took off, and I was sleeping by 8, 9 o'clock at night. So that's what's happening with me, but I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. This cancer is not going to kill me as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to fight it, and I'm going to fight it with the help of everybody here. And I'm thankful for everyone's support, because I did get a lot of messages. People were like, hey, even last night at midnight, Jennifer Nobles from California, it's 9 o'clock her time, midnight mine. I didn't see it in the morning. Till the morning, she's like, DutyRon, are you okay? What's going on with you? So yeah, I love you guys. I love you all. We couldn't do this without you. Ed and I have a tremendous amount of respect for you all here in this community. Sebastian Rogers is what this is all about. And again, at the bottom of this, we have the scrolling, scrolling information on places that you can call if you have information. Here's the Amber Alert for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He's now 15, and this gives all the information, and all of the information is there for you. We will link it in the description. Ed, anything? Did you see anything that I missed in the chat? Because
there were some questions here, and I'll give you some of my opinion. If you're going through a bad separation or divorce, it's never a good idea to, as parents, to involve the children.
Yeah.
Do not pit the children against the other in the relationship. That is terrible parenting and detrimental to the psyche and the well-being of the child. So don't ever do that. Okay. There was a question here about a private investigator or bounty hunter opening up his own tip line. I don't agree with that either. You're coming dangerously close to impeding an investigation. So be mindful of that. In fact, if you look at the ethics codes that most licensed private investigators have to, you might see you violating it and could lose your license. So those are the only two things I saw. But every time I see Sebastian, my heart just breaks. I said, where is this kid? Where is he? He didn't deserve this, and we as a society have to take care of our special needs people in our society. That is our obligation. They're not just things to throw away and neglect. Okay.
I agree wholeheartedly. And Twyla, I'm sorry I muted you, but I'm glad that you're back. What happened? How did we lose you?
Speaking of special needs kiddos, my 11-year-old daughter that sometimes y'all see her stick her head in there, she's special needs, and she's one of the sweetest kids you will ever meet. And she actually has been out of school all week with flu and strep throat because it's been going around. But her fever finally broke Wednesday, and she got to go out with one of her friends to celebrate her birthday, which was New Year's Eve. And she was calling to check on me. She said, "Mama, I'm just calling to check on you to see how you're doing and tell you I had so much fun." I said, "Well, I should be calling to check on you," which I did earlier, but she was playing. But special needs kids, all kids are just sweet. You got to just cherish them. But those special needs kids, they get you right here in your heart. And every time I see Sebastian's picture, and me and Dave talk about it, our team talks about it. My teammates that I'm really good friends with, we talk about it, and we're all ready to go when they need us again. But it really hits home, with these kids, because I have kids myself. My youngest is 11, and she's special needs, and she's one of the sweetest kids there is. And you just gotta, I don't know, sometimes you're just lost for words in situations like this.
Yeah, it is. It hits you, it tugs at your heartstrings. And, Sebastian it's going to be a year, as we said, on the 26th, and that's coming just 17 short days away. But we'll continue to cover this case. We'll continue to be on it. We do not want to focus on the Jagaloons. And this is the third time I put the sign up. Let me put it full screen so everybody can get a picture of it. I know Ed hates the sign. We all hate it. It's a disgusting sign. But Maddie Sully made it for me. It says Jagaloon Lane here, but I took our sticker that's available on our merch store. No Jagaloons. So yeah, we want to focus on the victim, which is Sebastian and his family. When you're promoting toxic behaviors and fights on the internet, who does it really have in its best interest? It doesn't certainly have Sebastian Rogers, as pictured here, dining in Texas Roadhouse on the night prior to him going missing. It just is. Think about it. You are kicking a 15-year-old, now 16-year-old boy. You're kicking him in the stomach each time you go live and talk horribly about his parents and his family. It doesn't do anything good. And in my opinion, it adds to the toxic nonsense that is swirling around. This and all of the other cases that we see. It happened in Summer Wells, and now guess what? It's crickets. Nobody's talking about it. She still continues to be missing, and there's no answers. You have, just a really bad situation. If you want to help to contribute to doing something positive, and somebody said in the beginning of the show, how could we help? And the way you can help is by sharing the flyers, putting it onto your social media, talking positively about the case and intelligently in conversations, and not getting involved in toxic nonsense. So that's all I got for today. I want to thank Twyla and the team EquuSearch. I got to change the scrolling at the bottom to our EquuSearch team right there, EquuSearchMidwest.org. You can go on to Facebook and support EquuSearch right here, EquuSearchMidwest.org. They accept, they're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. They rely on support from great people like you and everyone that's in this chat here now. If you, God forbid, have a lost loved one, EquuSearch is the people that you want to reach out to and get them to get involved through law enforcement invite. So on behalf of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, I want to wish everybody a great day and a Super Bowl. I don't know who you got, who you guys wishing for in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I want to see the Eagles win, because as far as I'm concerned, Kansas, they already won it 2 years in a row. So let's give somebody else a chance here. That's how I look at it. So let's let the Eagles go. Eagles fly. Eagles fly. That's what I got. Ed, how about you?
Well, I look at it in several ways. Philadelphia is close to our New York, New Jersey area. So, I could see support for that. But I also like the historical aspects of the fact that no team has ever won 3 Super Bowls in a row. So it's like the Chiefs are, starting to get their own dynasty now, just like the Patriots had for a long time. So I'm a little torn here, but, I'll go with the locals, and that would be the Eagles.
There you go, Ed. That was a safe one. Twyla, I know you said, I asked you before we were going to go live. I said, are you watching the Super Bowl? And you said, no, I'm not going to watch it. Are you going to just jump on the bandwagon and support the Eagles because me and Ed are?
That'll be great. I support the best. Oh, and Dave did say to tell everybody hello. They're out on a search somewhere in Ohio, so he couldn't be here. But I'm on y'all's bandwagon. Whoever y'all choose, I choose with you.
Okay. Appreciate it. Twyla, thank you for taking an hour and 17 minutes of your valuable time on a Sunday to spend a little bit of time talking about Sebastian Rogers. If you guys have any tips, there was the tip line scrolling all along the bottom of this video. I'll have it in the description. Ed, I know you always have something to say at the end of these things. So let's
all right,
take it away.
Folks, thanks for being here with us for this little over an hour and 20 minutes. And I know you can get your YouTube fix anywhere. Your true crime fix anywhere on YouTube. But thanks for being here. Thanks for spreading the word about us and continuing the growth of our true crime family here on DutyRon. And always, as always, please stay safe, stay prepared, and watch your 6. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Amen. Thank you to our mod squad. You guys are second to none, and all the replay viewers. We love the replay. Leave us a comment down below in the chat. Twyla actually loves to engage in the chat. So leave Twyla a message. Isn't that right, Twyla?
I love it. Yep.
Stand by for a message from the cop team. God, have a great Sunday and have a fun time at the Super Bowl. We'll see you soon. Peace and love.